Hey guys, welcome back. Thanks for being back in. Hope you're doing good and having a great day. Today we're talking about fake people. Fake people. It's a little bit of a tricky topic because there's a lot of there's a lot of nuances. There's a lot of tricky variables when it comes into fake people. But typically, right, we can spot fake people right off the bat, and that's simply by doing our research, right? And it starts with asking questions. When you ask someone a question, or when you ask a fake person a question, right? Very quickly they'll be able to stand out from everyone else, because then you'll be able to catch them in lies. Now, fake people. Why are people fake? People are fake because they benefit from being fake, right? And that's the reason you catch them in lies, because they'll tell someone one thing for their benefit, and they'll tell someone else another thing for their benefit, aka politicians. Or MLMs. But so when it comes to fake people, they will obviously lie to you, right? But the biggest thing is that they will come to you as a friend. The reason why a lot of them really damage a lot of people is because they play a role that is somewhat serving a purpose to drop your guard, right? There's a lot of us that, especially in this time when we find ourselves in such a situation where we just want to find someone genuine, someone authentic, they play on that role, and that's something that they always keep at the surface. But below that surface is who they really are, and some of them are very good at what they do and hiding it. And we have to be very careful when we tread with people. That's why I always tell you guys, ask questions, right? And a few things when you get to know someone new, don't tell them everything about your life, okay? It's one thing if you're excited to share some things, right? Maybe you're a musician, maybe you're an artist, maybe you even do YouTube, right? The reason why I share my YouTube quite a bit, actually, is because I know that there are people that could stand to gain from watching my videos. I have been told many, many times that I'm wise beyond my years, and I'm not hyping myself up at all. But I've experienced a lot of different things, right, and have information on a lot of different things. And so that's why I always share them, because you can say and you can share with someone on your YouTube channel where you have done 100 videos, 200 videos, 300 videos, almost 400 videos like I have, which is kind of crazy to think about. I've been putting in some work, man. But that is something that you can't really say in 20, 30 minutes, because the most of the time I run into people at the gym, and there's only so much you can say in between sets. You can't have 3-4 hour long conversation, in that span. So yeah, I always point people to some of my videos, and then we can talk about it after. And of course, I'll talk a little bit here and there, but I won't really talk a whole lot. Specifically because I got shit to do, and I know people I'm talking to, they got shit to do too. So it's more of a waste of time sitting there spending too much time talking about something that you could really share with them in a couple of seconds, right? And then of course talk with them for a few minutes, but that's it. Not that you're wasting your time with the conversation, right? Because you're having a genuine conversation with someone, but the fact that that it's time management, right? So but Um, Fake people will always hype you up, they'll gas you up, and then, right, when you start to become successful, that's when they turn on you real quick. That's when they turn on you real quick. Now, these are for my guys who are looking to, stand out from others, right? Who are looking to build themselves up, maybe to start communities such as me, or other YouTubers, other influencers. Maybe not even that. Maybe filmmakers, other artists, musicians, whatever, right? But you will have those, haters. You'll have those people who are fake. They'll turn on you on a dime when it doesn't benefit them, as we were talking about earlier, right? I've seen that happen so much. I remember, so long ago, someone that I took in, someone who I considered to be a brother of mine, who I also served with. And I remember my first 50 subs. I was so blown away by the first 50, and I was so excited, to tell him about it. I was like, dude, look, I got 50 subs, man. This is awesome, man. I'm blowing up, and some of my videos were getting like 20, 30 views. And I was like, dude, that is amazing, man. That's awesome. And then he's like, oh yeah, cool, man. That's awesome. Huh. Well, I thought you would be more excited for me, because it seemed like you were pretty excited for me when I was picking you up from the airport. Weird. But, anyways, fake people, they'll always be around you when they need something. But when you need a genuine friend, they're almost never around. Never. When you need something, they're never there. And this doesn't just apply to fake friends, fake girlfriend, fake boyfriend, right? Fake family members, every single thing, right? Bosses, co-workers, politicians, especially politicians. But even going to a business, right? Excuse me, even going to a business and buying something, right? You'll even run into that. Of course, MLMs. But you will run into fake people everywhere. And so the frustrating part is that you have to do your research on just about everything. And that's overwhelming. That's absolutely exhausting. And, there's also the fact of, well, what do I research? And where do you start? That's also the thing about life too, is that when you don't know what you don't know, how are you supposed to know what you don't know, right? Because you don't know what you don't know, but you're trying to know what you don't know, what you don't know, what you don't know. You guys following? I'm not following either, so. But that's the dangerous part. There's so much information out there on the internet, but a lot of that information is edited, right? It's altered. It's it's some way manipulated to get you to believe a certain way, right? And you really have to watch out. And these are quote unquote credible sources, right? I remember, the news media, of course, right? CNN, CBS, all these Fox News, all of these guys. I remember when Fox News turned on Tucker Carlson. And Tucker Carlson is, one of the few actual journalists who is not afraid to say what he has to say, what needs to be said. And that's why they were coming after, even Fox News were coming after him, right? And so, again, fake fucking people, right? But not that I'm a Trump supporter at all, because Trump is just as fake, right? If you look into some of his history, he was a spokesperson for ACN for 10 years, ACN being a multi-level marketing company. And we all know about multi-level marketing companies on this channel. And so if you guys don't know what that is, please, 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 first check out my video of, I got scammed. And then start watching more of my MLM or anti-MLM content, because I go a little bit more into kind of I go more into MLM tactics and all that stuff, but I also bring up Trump a couple of times, and that's something I didn't know until recently. Another thing I didn't know was that Betsy DeVos, who has ties to Amway, was the Secretary of Education, right, in Trump's first term. Whether he knew that or not, I don't really care. What I do care about is that she was in there, right? There's a lot of people who know about Amway being another multi-level marketing company. And so, do your research. Don't ever take my word as fact. Don't take anyone's word as fact, right? But do your research, okay? Now, I will assure you that what I tell you is the truth, right? But how are you supposed to know that for sure if you don't have that information right in front of you? And that's the danger, right? That's the danger of dealing with fake people, right? Is that if you don't have that information, at least in here or right in front of you, you don't know if someone is lying to you or not, right? And you especially don't know if they're benefiting from lying to you. And so that's why I always tell you guys, question everything, research, and believe things that are objective, never subjective. Do not rely on your emotions at all. Do not live through your emotions at all. You live in logic, you live in reasoning. That's the only place that you should live through. And for my ladies out there, I'm speaking to you very closely as well. Do not live in your emotions. I know it's a lot harder for women to not live in their emotions, right? Because women are more susceptible to their emotions. That's just how women are. I get that, right? Especially with the lack of emotional intelligence. Not that they're stupid, not that they're as intelligent as, or not that they're not as intelligent as anyone else, but that the fact that we see most modern women today do not have the ability to actively manage their emotion. Look around. Most women cannot accept rejection. Most women cannot accept accountability. I mean, just those two alone, right? Or responsibility too, for their own actions, right? But because they always tend to, or not always, but a lot of them tend to make really shitty decisions. And there are more women in college these days than there are men. So that really says something, right? And then we also have women who are going online now. This is a new trend that's happening where women are talking about not paying their loans back. Well, I mean, you went to college. Anyways, I'm not going to go on a tangent. You know me, guys. But fake people, right? Get back to the topic here. Fake people. Fake people are everywhere, right? And if you don't have those things either up here or right in front of you, you're going to have a really tough time. So how do we deal with fake people? Well, we identify them really quick. Again, asking questions. And so when we identify them, right, by asking questions, there's a few things that we could do. And this is also where I'm bringing in the choosing your battles, right? We can confront them about their lying and everything like that, and cut the cord right there with them and cut them off. Or, right, if it ultimately doesn't benefit us, sorry for the flashbang, for some reason it just decided to go bright. I guess Jesus must be around at some point somewhere. Yeah, so You can confront them, right? But if it doesn't benefit you to confront them, such as a job or maybe it's some kind of event that you're at, right, that you really don't want to cause a scene, then you just play the game, right? Oh yeah, cool, man, no problem, no problem. Yeah, no problem. I get you, bro. I get you. Just have a conversation with them. Just be friendly, be cordial. And then you kind of go your own way. Okay, don't lie to them. Don't lie to them, right? But also try not to cause a scene, especially if it doesn't benefit you to cause a scene. So, because you never really know how they're going to react, because they could escalate things way, way, way much, right? And this is either a man or a woman. Okay. We've seen some crazy women here, or we've seen some crazy women, but we've also seen some crazy men too, right? So, it's all about just be cautious, man. Be cautious. Choose your battles and choose them very, very carefully. But just a couple of ways to deal with fake people, right? But then again, also, when we're talking about other things, outside of work or events or, maybe family members or whatnot, I'm specifically talking about, politicians. When you're voting for, maybe a local mayor, maybe a governor, maybe, presidential election, it's always good. It's always good to confront them. It's always good to ask them questions. Hey, look, you had a stance on this last year. Why do you have a stance on this year? Right. Or why do you have this stance this year? What's the difference? Right. What changed? And that's a good way to keep someone accountable, because if we're not keeping people accountable on anything, well, I mean, that's exactly why we're in this mess that we are in now. We're not holding people accountable, right? And I think that we should definitely hold people accountable in most cases. But again, I remember watching, a couple videos where, and I'm referring to, Bo Refik and his, in his video where he was reacting to a man that had got fired for not playing the game at work, right? Found out that his boss was cheating on his wife, and didn't play the game, right? And boss thought that was a threat, and so got rid of him, right? So that's kind of an example of where I was telling you, play the game, okay? It's especially when it comes to work, because look, guys, it's so hard to find work these days. I know that 100%. I know that, right? As a disabled veteran, who struggles with PTSD, it's really hard, right, to convince a company to take me on, because I know I become a liability. I know that, right? Because even though I'm going through therapy, right, and I'm trying to heal from my trauma, I can still get triggered, right? And I can still be set off, and that's what really scares a lot of companies, which obviously, I'm not going to do something that's going to, I'm just not going to blow up and, beat the shit out of somebody. That's not me. That's not who I am. But, I can definitely, blow up, have a heightened emotional reaction because of my PTSD again, and put the company in bad light, maybe say some things that I shouldn't have. Right. Of course, everyone, everybody's done that at a point in time. We've all learned from that. But it's not that I'm really capable, or it's not that I'm very susceptible to doing that anyways, right? I'm very opinionated, don't get me wrong, right? But I'm not just going to blow up on someone and, just call them everything under the sun, right? And just start screaming and yelling at them. Matter of fact, the last job that I had, someone was doing that to me, or not calling me everything under the sun, but he was screaming and yelling at me. And even though I was shaking, right, and I was alert, my blood was pumping, and I was just excited. I was nervously excited. That's what I'd say. It wasn't that I was happy excited. I was nervous because I was thinking that, oh shit, things might go down. I need to be ready, right? And that's just a reaction that I have. I was still able to remain calm and do the job that I needed to do, right, as a receptionist. But I still get triggered. Anyways, I understand that it's really hard to find a job. And so sometimes you just have to play the game. You got to play the game unless it really affects your mental health, because at that point in time, nothing is more important than your mental health. And if it's feasible for you to leave the job, then I would do that. But if you can't, I also understand that as well. Because I was working for AT&T a while ago, and when one of my the manager, the only manager, because there's typically only one manager for the store, and there's an area manager typically. We were talking with the store manager, and store manager is another vet. But he said something that didn't seem right to me. We were talking about security clearance, and this guy had mentioned that he had a diamond security clearance. And I thought that was weird, because I had to take a step back and think, and I said, I was thinking, I know Yankee White is the top level security clearance. If I remember correctly, there is confidential, secret, top secret, and then Yankee White, I believe. I might be, a little mixed up on some, but I think that's the ranking in that. And so I had to think, and I did some research, and there's no diamond at all. I know that for a fact. There is no diamond. And so started doing a little bit of research into this guy. Come to find out, he was arrested on 4 charges of stuff with children. And so I had to remain in that job for another month, I believe, before I couldn't tolerate it anymore. And so I soon found a job after that, and that's when I was working as a receptionist. But fake people will lie through their teeth to get you to believe what they want you to believe because it benefits them, right? He was a law enforcement officer. As someone who's a military police, that disgusts me. It really does. As someone like that is working as a law officer, a law enforcement officer. And so it's incredibly sad, but it's fake people, right? Got out of that job, started working for another company, and didn't mention that whole thing, right? It was apparently did what he had to do to keep the whole thing hush hush. It makes sense, but fake people. And so I've had friends that were fake, coworkers obviously that were fake, relationships with women that were fake, and that happens very often. There's a lot of women out there. Most women here in the West, but in America, are very fake. They'll tell you one thing and then they'll do another, right? Just how most modern women are today. they will never tell you anything straight. Well, I mean, it's not that they will never tell you anything straight, because when they're mad at you, they'll tell you stuff straight. That's for sure. But they will tell you some things straight. And the ones that are more down to earth, they'll be more direct, more honest with you. But the more toxic ones, of course, they will almost never say anything straight to you. So, but on the reverse of that too, guys who don't get a lot of attention, they will lie too, just to get attention from women, right? And so, ladies, watch out. This is what I'm telling you. Do your research on people, man. Start asking them questions, right? Especially when you're going on dates with people, get to know the real them. Don't ask them these stupid fucking questions. What's your favorite color? What's your spirit animal? If you were a cereal, what cereal would you be? No one fucking cares about that shit. Ask the real hardball questions. Do you want a family? Where do you see yourself in that family? Right? Do you see yourself being, a housewife, a mother, a husband, the head of household, right? What was your most embarrassing moment in your life? How did you get past that? Some real questions, because you want to know their character. You want to know them for who they are, because anyone's fake, and you don't want to spend 5-10 years with someone and not know who they are. For them to cheat on you for the past 5 years, and you're just now finding out about it when everyone else already knew about it. There's a lot of stories out there like that, especially coming from men. Especially coming from men. Now, obviously, I've been in the red pill space for quite a while now, and I've seen story after story after story. I've seen hundreds of stories by now. And it's very typical of that. Now, I'm not saying that men aren't doing the same thing, because there are a lot of men out there that are, right? But it's a lot of women. When you see the stats don't lie, that 80% of women are initiating divorces, and then 90% of college-educated women are initiating divorces. More women are leaving marriages, relationships, than there are men. So, just saying, guys. But other than playing the game, of course, you can confront them, right? You can tell them to cut the shit. Cut the shit. We're talking real conversation now. And so, at that point, you can cut them off, right? Call them out for who they are, and then, in the whole thing there, right? That's one thing, but you would also have to stand firm on you, right? Whatever decision that you make sure you stay to the point, concise, and stay true to you. Don't buckle. Do not even budge. Don't even do that, okay? Because if the fake person realizes, right, that you are strong, right, in your own thought, in your own morals, your values, and you're willing to be stoic and stand up for yourself, they're either going to be fearful of you, or they're going to think that you are a waste of time. And so, again, they could also get mad at you and start, escalate the situation. And that's where you would have to defend yourself, which is why I tell you guys to get fit. But, not just of the mind, but also of the body as well, right? So, but just be prepared for anything. But confront them, call them out for who they are, and cut off the relationship right there. If it's a relationship, or if it's acquaintance, a stranger, call them out for what they are, right? And then just don't be around them anymore. You know, just cut them out of your life completely. So, but if anything that you take away from this video, question everything and believe only objective facts. And stand firm in yourself and believe in yourself. Okay? So, positive self-image, positive self-reinforcement. All right, guys. So, hopefully this was able to help you out. If it was, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. We hit 260 subs today. You guys are family members. I don't like to use subs, but it's the best way to describe what's going on. And so the family is growing. Thank you so much, guys, for all that you do. You guys are fucking killing it. You guys are rock stars. Thank you so much. Make sure that you are engaging in the comments, right? If you have something on your mind, or if you have any experiences that you would like to share with us. You know, some of you guys are already doing that, and more of you guys are already doing that, and that's great. I want to hear what you guys are saying and thinking, and I want to hear what you guys are going through, and how can I help? How can I help you? There have been a couple of family members who have asked me, you know, specific questions, and hopefully I was able to answer that in a few videos. So this is what the whole Hone Turf channel is here for, to help you guys out. Well, I mean, to help all of us. We're all supposed to benefit here because, again, I don't have it all figured out, but we're all going to figure it out together. So, but that being said, if you have something to say, please say it, okay? Whether it's positive or negative, I don't care. This is open conversation for everyone. As long as you're not shitting on someone for no reason, and you're not lying. So, we're supposed to be here to lift everyone up and give the truthful information, right? And learn and grow together. So that being said, guys, thank you for watching. You guys are amazing. I love each and every one of you. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourselves, both mind and body. Take care of each other, and I'll talk to you guys soon.